Blackmagic Cloud has been out for a little over a year now, and as someone who has used it since day one, I've used it both with my old Intel Mac Pro in a studio environment where it's connected to Wi-Fi constantly, and now traveling around the world with my new 16-inch MacBook Pro. What I once saw as a near perfect cloud service, I now see some reasons why I suggest people not to use it. Let's talk about it. To actually access it, a lot of people don't even know. You just go Blackmagic's website and you'll see this little login button. And once you input your credentials, it will bring you to this screen here, the new presentations thing, which is pretty cool. It's like kind of like a Frame.io or Dropbox review sort of thing, where you can send clients and like get comments and stuff. But this is where you can actually see your library on your project server. This is where you will see everything, all of the projects in the cloud, so to speak, which is really cool. See that they're all there. You can go into here, you can create backups, you can restore from backups. And as I've talked highly about in the past, it's a fantastic thing because it means that you can install DaVinci Resolve on a new computer or on a temporary computer. If you were like traveling and your friend had a decent MacBook that you could work off of, you just sign into your Blackmagic project server and instantly get all of your projects, right? As I've learned now, having traveled to multiple countries and around the States and working a lot more mobilely now, there is some key downsides, which you can probably guess, networks. So that's something that for those of you who primarily work on a desktop, you're at home. That's what I've been doing for years. I had a Mac Pro. It sat on a desk. I pretty much only worked from home. And so it never really was a problem. Obviously, when Blackmagic Cloud came out, I was using it on the iPad on the go, but I always had a decent network whenever I was using it. And the problem that I'm finding is that it's not just if the opening and closing the projects and if it'll save, but the performance of the project actually seems to be affected if your network is bad at all. So even if I have this project open, which is in the cloud here, and I close this and I'm working on it, if I just turn off my Wi-Fi here, what'll start to happen, even just after a couple moments, is I went and hit save, and it's obviously very confused because it doesn't know where to save it to, right? Like there's no network. And so now your project's at this point where it's like, well, all the data for this project is in the cloud, and so I don't really know what to do. I have live save turned on, which means that after every single like movement of the mouse, you add a clip, you cut a clip, it makes that save, which is great because then if the program crashes, there's a backup. But since the project is like cloud-based, it just gets so lost and confused. And I guess I kind of just always hoped that if you were out of a network, it would seamlessly or quickly create like a local backup sort of thing. And that's kind of what it does. Like if I go to close out the program right here, which we still have the beach ball of death. And if I right click, it's going to say application not responding because like it just doesn't know what to do. So I can quit the program right now, which I'm probably going to, I would potentially lose any progress that I made to this edit. But most of the time what it will do is, it's not even doing it now, is it will ask me like, do you want to create a local version, which is nice, but now you have multiple versions of the projects and that can become very messy. And so if you're constantly in that situation where you like start a project on a network, but then you are off a network, it can be very confusing because when you go to, let me switch back on my network here. As I'm waiting for that, I just want to point, like, it's one of those things that I thought I was going crazy for a while, and it actually happened. Like, I sold my Mac Pro like days before we left for Italy. And so when I was traveling with this 16-inch for the first couple of days, I was like, man, this thing is so much worse than my Mac Pro. Like, this M2 Max chip isn't all it's cracked up to be. See, now it just saved. Critical error. All right, finish my story first. I'm too ADHD for these types of videos. I thought it was the computer's issue and a performance issue in the computer, but it turns out that it was just the lack of, the Wi-Fi's that I was on in the Airbnbs in Italy were just so bad. And so that completely ruins the performance while editing. It'd be one thing if it was just like, oh, slow network, that means the project will like load slow. I thought things were happening locally because your footage is still local. Blackmagic Cloud doesn't sync all of your source footage. But no, it greatly affects the project. And then, like I said, if you go off a network and then back on a network, you'll get this critical error saving project. And if you've made edits while you were off network, then you want to export changes and reload, which is going to export a whole new project, reload it, or you can just reload the current. I didn't make any changes. And so now it's going to kind of do its thing. Still can't click around, still can't do anything. And there we go. All right. There. Yep. And now we're kind of back. So it basically goes to the previous save, which again, it can just get very messy. And so I get it. It's not like a clean, it's not like a huge bug for them. I just think it's a interesting problem that I myself didn't even realize was going to be a problem until I've ran into it. So now if I'm going to create a project where I know I'm going to be working on it for the next couple of weeks, and I may or may not be on and off networks constantly, that's when I will actually start to reutilize the local database more, because then it's just easy. As long as I have, the physical external hard drive with me or my internal hard drive space, I know I'm going to be good to go. Performance isn't going to be an issue. Savings not going to be an issue. So yeah, Blackmagic Cloud is still truly incredible for most use cases, but if you are traveling, be mindful of this. Hope this video helps someone out. Let me know your experience with Blackmagic Cloud in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.